Hi guys, my name is Rohan, and this is the part 4 of the Swift programming series. And in this video, we will continue to talk about the collection type of arrays. And let's actually first open our document, open our playground in Xcode. And by the way, if just for your notice, I have updated my Xcode, and the version number now is 8.3.3. so just for a little note. And in the previous video also I had this version 8.3.3 or whatever it was, 8.3.3 in part 3 of the Swift programming series. So let us make this window full screen. And in the previous video we discussed about the collection types. So there are 3 collection types in Swift programming language, and the first is arrays. Of course they are not ordered, so one being arrays, second dictionaries, and third sets. And we will be discussing about arrays in this video, and we also discussed about that in the previous video. We had a look at what are arrays, and basically they are an ordered list of items, of random items, may it be strings, may it be integers, may it be boolean values, and I'll get to boolean in a sec. Or maybe somewhere in the future parts of the programming series, because right now we don't really need booleans. But yeah, so back to the recap part. An array is an ordered list of items, and the way you create array is you start with the keyword var, which stands for variable, or you can also have let. But the thing with let is that you cannot change the value of the array. You cannot add an item, you cannot remove an item once the array is created. So var has an advantage over it, you can say, that you can modify, or you can just mutate the values afterwards of whatever collection type or variable data type you are creating. So the first thing was the definition of array, that an array is an ordered list, and probably I'm speaking this the third time. But the second thing is that each and every item in an array is it has an index number. So that is the number that helps to keep the index number. Numbers in arrays are the number that help to maintain the order of items in the array. So for example, this item right here has an index number of 1 because this is the second item, and the index number begins with 0, and then after that it starts on increasing by 1. So yeah, and then the third point is that we learned how we can access a particular item in an array by using the index number of that item. So in the to do array, the index number 0 belongs to the item complete homework. So we picked up the value from the array to do, that has the index number of 0, and then substituted it. So we have complete homework right here. And then similarly we printed out a value a value of the item number, the item with the index number 1 in the array to do. So that's pretty simple up until now, and in this video also it's gonna be very simple. And yeah, so the first thing, I'm going to show you how you can add more items to an array. But first we will get started by creating a new array. So before that, though, I would like to show you this website, that is iswift.org. I recently discovered this website, just now while recording, and this website has a lot of stuff to get you started, the basics, and even the you know some kind of an advanced stuff, you can say, for beginners. But if you are familiar with another programming language, it might be easy for you to grasp up to. So I'll leave the link to this website in the description, and this video is not sponsored by any way by this website or by any other company. So yeah, so we will create a new array, and we will call that array, and by the way, that will be a variable, so we can actually add more items to that array. Or you know what, let's actually have a constant array, and let's see why we should why in most of the cases we have variable arrays. And we also do have constant arrays. This does not mean that we do not have constant arrays, or we have them very rarely, but most of the time you have to, the situation is that you have to have more items added to a particular array, and for that the array must be variable. So I had a pause, guys, and I'll be creating an array with the name of friend list, and that will be of type string. And remember to have these square brackets, and then the data type inside these square brackets, so the compiler understands that, hey, we want to create an array, and that array must have the items in that array should be of type string. So is equal to, and then we have the items in our array. Let's say I have some friends, say John and Joe, and let's say for example, I met someone and we started talking, and that person is I like that person as a nature wise, and I think that he or she might be my friend. So let's actually try to add that to this collection, and we will assume that the lesser the index number, the more better relation with the friend is. So for example, if John has an index number of 0, that means John is our better friend than Joe, which has an index number greater than 0, which is 1. So yeah, we'll assume that for now. And the way you add an item to an array, and remember, I'm talking about adding, and take that adding as capital, adding in capitals or adding in quotes, because adding means that you are essentially taking up an array and then adding some other item to that array. So for example, I'll give you an example straight away. So the syntax to add an array is friend list dot append, and append just means add, and then this will be followed by these normal brackets, and inside these brackets we will type the item or the value that we add to that we want to add to this array, that is friend list. Say for example, we have Steve, and now if we want to list the items in the array, we have an error here. Yeah guys, so I told you that you cannot change an array or even any very any constant if it's a constant. That doesn't make sense, but hey, you understand my point, right? So you need to have var, which stands for variable, as I said, uh, variable, and then you can actually modify the array. Then you can mutate the array. So yeah. And by the way, just a fun fact, you don't need to remember this or kind of a thing, but variables are also called mutable types, and constants that start with let are also called immutable types. So yeah, just a fact, not even a fact, just some information for you there. And now if we access the array, and you just access the array by typing its name. And remember, accessing an array and accessing an item in an array is two different things. You access an item in an array by the index number of that item, and you access the whole array by the name of that array. It's similar to how you access a variable or a constant. So yeah. And this is the first method. First method to add item to an array, and then I'll show you the second method you can add item to an array. And when previously I was talking about adding an item to an array, I meant to say that this will be added to the the next position after the last item in an array. So for example, let's assume that this is a long array. The array friend list is a long array, and it has let's say it has a lot of items to it. So when we talk about adding an item to an array, we mean that you have to add the value, the whatever value you want to add. You have to add that value after the last item of that array. So in this case, I'm sorry guys if there's a confusion, but the last item in this array, in the array friend list, is Joe, and we want Steve to be added after Joe. So that's what we are doing with this syntax, or even just when we say adding an item to an array. And I'll show you the second method, how you can add an item to an array. And with this method you can actually add multiple items to the array, and I think probably you can add more items to the array with this method as well. No, you cannot add multiple items to the array with this method. I'm not too sure though, I'll let you know in the description. So the other method that you can by which you can add an item to an array, you know what, I'll actually show this in to you in the next part. So yeah guys, thanks for watching the video. Watch the next part. I'll have a end screen video icon once I publish that part. And yeah, thanks for watching. If you have any question, do let me know by leaving a comment, or yeah, just leave a comment, or just contact me however you want. But if you have any question, feel free to ask me. And yeah, this all of this this file will be available on my website, and I'll have the link in the description. So yeah, once again, thanks for watching and have a nice day. Goodbye.